Good evening, everyone. You didn't prepare me. It was going to be such a beautiful ceremony. Congratulations to all of you for graduating today. Dear graduating class of 2019, 5 years ago, in July 2014, I was writing, like many of you, my MBA thesis at another Swiss university, the University of St. Gallen. I was debating on which topic to write my thesis. I was at the time working for a Swiss bank, private bank, and was very passionate about making a change for women in the financial industry in Switzerland. So I thought to myself, why not write the thesis about the topic of women in banking and how women could advance in the field, building both a career and a family together. But then something personal happened to me. While I was on maternity leave with my first daughter, my baby daughter, my team in the bank was restructured, and I found in myself with an MBA thesis that is not written, a 3-month-old, very sweet baby girl, and no job to go back to. This time was very stressful, as you can imagine. But I decided to try to zoom out beyond the stress, and you guys know what this stress is about, and to listen to what was going on around me. Around me was a country from which I had come, Israel, which had over 500 startups in cybersecurity and data privacy. Every week, as I was opening the Israeli newspapers, I would read about another Israeli cyber company that was sold to Microsoft, to Check Point, to Palo Alto Networks for hundreds of millions of dollars. The Israeli cyber ecosystem was moving as fast as a lightning, mainly because the government was pouring a lot of money into that industry. As I had served for 2 years in the Israeli military intelligence in a unit called 8200, I saw all my buddies, my friends from the army, starting their cybersecurity startups. Everyone was coming together in teams of 2 or 3 people, writing a PowerPoint presentation about their incredible new cybersecurity product and raising millions of dollars in venture capital for their startups just based on a PowerPoint presentation. Unbelievable. It was very clear to me that something big was happening. There was a big opportunity coming up. And remember, I was based out of Zurich at the time. So I asked myself, how is it possible that nothing is happening on this front in Switzerland? With 25% of the global wealth, or $7 trillion, concentrated in Swiss banks, how could it be that nobody was talking about cybersecurity? How could it be that none of the wealthy clients in the private bank that I was working for, I won't tell you which one it was, were not interested in investing into this opportunity? I looked at the numbers again. By 2020, it said that the global cost of cybercrime would have climbed from $500 million, global cost of cybercrime, to $2.5 trillion. Some estimates even said to $9 trillion. By 2018, remember we're talking about 2014 here, it said that there would be 20 billion devices that are connected to the internet, what we call the Internet of Everything. These devices would be vulnerable to cyber attacks if they were not protected adequately. So the world was practically running into a reality where cybersecurity would be the key to trust and to digitalization. But somehow, don't know how, Switzerland and the banking sector were completely ignoring this opportunity. So I flew to Tel Aviv to attend a great conference, which I super recommend that you go to, called Cyber Week in Tel Aviv. It still happens every June in Tel Aviv. And in one of the presentations, there was a gentleman called Eugene Kaspersky. He's a very famous founder of the Russian security company Kaspersky. And he said a sentence which at that very moment changed my life. He said, if you want to have a job for the next 50 years, go into cybersecurity. I looked around me back in Tel Aviv at the hundreds of young Israeli people attending that conference. Remember, we're talking here about 2014. There were hundreds of them crowding the room like here, but some of them were sitting on the floor of the auditorium, some of them, just trying to find place, and there was such a buzz in the room. Some of them were dressed like me, kind of business clothing, elegant, but the others were coming, they were wearing uniform. They were coming from the top military units like the cyber and the intelligence units where I actually had also served 15 years before. At that moment, it became very clear to me that the feeling of awakening that was happening in Israel on cybersecurity would very soon spread to the rest of the world. It was not just an Israeli problem. It was a global problem that was waiting to come to life. So I returned to Zurich from my trip and was determined to write my thesis about how the Israeli cyber ecosystem, innovation ecosystem, could defend Swiss organizations. And when I finished writing that paper, 70 pages, probably some of you know the experience, it's painful, I knew that this was also the business that I wanted to start. A business where I would bring together the most cutting-edge technologies from Israel to Europe to defend large organizations. 5 years later, the company that I founded, Cyvers, is the leading provider of Israeli cyber technologies in Switzerland and probably in Europe. We're the only ones that are focused exclusively on providing Israeli cyber capabilities to defend large European enterprises. So companies like Novartis, Nestle, Pictet, Schindler Group, they're all turning to us to know what is the latest innovation in cybersecurity. We have led multiple trips in the last year and a half to Israel with the management and board members of large Swiss companies who wanted to see exactly what I saw in Tel Aviv 5 years ago. To me, the journey of entrepreneurship around cybersecurity has been like a dream come true. I built a business in which I'm personally very passionate about. I love the world of intelligence and cyber. I'm also a big believer in cross-cultural dialogue. So through the business, I can create the most effective dialogue between the Swiss and the Israelis. But last but not least, I built a business in which I can be free. Free to build a family, free to travel, and free to do whatever I choose to do. In the last 5 years, I had 2 more children. So now we have 3 little children under the age of 6 at home. It is crazy, but I love it. I love it that I could do both. And I'm telling you all of this with a few points in mind. First of all, cybersecurity and data privacy is a huge business opportunity. Digitalization will not succeed without cybersecurity first. Take a look at this opportunity as you graduate. There is also a massive shortage of manpower globally in cybersecurity, with 4 million jobs that are missing in this field. Second, listen to the markets around you. Understand the opportunities around you and be creative about them. Don't be scared. Take the time to travel and to research and bounce ideas, exchange ideas with people that you trust. Find a mentor or an older business partner who can help you build what you believe is the future. If you come from a special place, a special background, and you have a special personal story, make this story into your business. You will be able to do what other people cannot do. Don't be afraid to start a business. The beginning is so difficult, but when it takes off, the feeling of gratification is hard to describe. Running a successful business will make you incredibly proud. And remember, life is about hard work. It is not about shortcuts. There are no shortcuts unless you invested in Bitcoin a few years ago, and then maybe there is a shortcut. But life is hard work. Raising a family is about hard work. Building a business is hard work. But when you do all of this and you surround yourself with good people, people that you can trust, you will be able to look back at your journey and be so proud. I wish you the most successful and rewarding journey that is starting now.
Merci, Madame Shira Kaplan, pour ce discours.